I'm obviously disappointed in losing that football game. As I told our team, we had multiple opportunities to win the game. Um, we not very often. As I said, you'll have 500 yards of offense. The other team will have 350, and then you'll lose. And so, this was a case of us beating ourselves, not taking advantage of opportunities. Most importantly, in the red zone. Playing the end of the game without our quarterback because of an earlier decision by someone else to get involved in a fight. And so, all the things that we've done well, kicking game, lack of penalties, they all unfortunately reared their heads here. So, thought we overcame adversity. We scored touchdowns. They were taken away. I thought our kids had a good mindset about them. But at the end of the day, we let them get too much of a lead. They were 5 for 5, I think, on third down in the first half, and we just weren't able to. We weren't able to make the plays that you needed to make in the red zone to go win the game, including the last 2 drives.
Questions? Matt, did the officials explain why Charlie was disqualified?
When there was that earlier altercation, they dismissed 2 players, and they also gave unsportsmanlike conduct penalties to everyone on both sidelines to calm the game down. When they did that, the first official said to me, you had multiple people on your sideline run onto the field. So that's why I was talking to them. Not one Baylor person left the sideline. I want to make that clear. Not one Baylor person left the sideline. I'm not saying anything about I have no idea what happened at Iowa State. Coach Campbell's a great coach. I'm sure he had his sideline handled. But when that thing happened over there where Chris got the penalty, where kind of into the bench, not one person on Baylor left the sideline. So 2 things in a row happened where no one left our sideline. So they still gave us a sideline penalty. So I can't tell you why, other than just to kind of calm the game down is what the explanation I got. When later on, Charlie had that play, the referee felt like Charlie said something inappropriate to him. I think he used a cuss word, and we thought it was because he got kicked in the head. I didn't have a chance to talk to Charlie. The official thought it was because he didn't like his spot. So they gave him an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty. So you're talking about it's supposed to be about 3rd and 1, now it's 3rd and 16. And they had to eject him from the game because that was his second unsportsmanlike, even though the previous unsportsmanlike was when he was sitting on the bench drinking Gatorade. So I say not that to complain, but just a shame for him. He's got to have his name there that he was ejected from a game for some unsportsmanlike, where he never threw a punch. He never did. He asked. Apparently, he questioned the referee about his spot, and so he was ejected from the game. So. But that's what this year's been like, and we have to just battle through adversity and not pay attention to those things. And Jalen had to go in the game, and I just hate it for Charlie. I would have loved to have seen our starting quarterback have the ball twice in the red zone with a chance to go win the game, and I thought it was unfortunate that he didn't get that opportunity.
Matt, how frustrating were the red zone opportunities in that first half? You obviously had great chances to score, and you had a lead.
Yeah, we had Denzel wide open twice. We thought we were going to catch and score, which we later caught. The first drive even, we were down there to score and had a couple penalties that kind of knocked us up out of range. And, missed the field goal. The first one I thought was good because we punted it down there. We thought maybe we had him pinned at the 1. Again, that, wasn't pinned at the 1, but that was sort of the thinking there. And then we thought we scored a touchdown on the last one, So, I hate it even for Connor. As I said, we scored a touchdown. I turned around, started fist pumping, our sidelines going nuts. I walked down the other way, only then to hear that they're reviewing not that play. I said, they're reviewing the play to see if Charlie got another reviewing the play before. And so, just from an emotional standpoint, you're battling on the road. Now, we have to say what's next and battle through adversity, but I just didn't think it was right that our kids had to, going from here to here. Our field goal kicker has to go from thinking he's kicking a PAT to all of a sudden coming over to the 17. And the head official didn't come over and explain it to me. So I thought that would have been a great time maybe to come over and explain to me, because I didn't even know what was going on. And I'm under the impression that you can't review a play after a play's been run. They said that they had been buzzed. As I said, well, when they were going in there trying to find Charlie to see if he got in the end zone or not, you'd think they'd have been like, no, it doesn't count anyway. So just didn't look good. But I don't think it was fair. Just the same way, they ejected one player for them and brought him back, and the crowd roars, I don't know that any of that was, but that's me whining, right? That's me complaining. Because at the end of the day, it was about football. We had opportunities, but it's also my job to stand up for our players. And you think when you score a touchdown, it's a touchdown. So but we have to execute better in the red zone. I thought we ran the ball well at times today. The score got a little bit away from us. We had to go, had to throw it a little bit more. Jermichael got banged up, so we had to kind of bounce back, after that.
So Charlie and Greg will miss the first half of next week's game because of the judges?
I have no idea. Which we saw tonight, I don't think's ever happened before, probably. And so now Greg's a different story. Apparently, Greg threw a punch. Again, I couldn't see it. I saw the very beginning, when our player was on the ground and he was getting choked out. Okay, and so I was disappointed with Blake and told Blake. And Blake said, Coach, he was choking me. And I said, that doesn't matter. And that's a lesson for all of us. We don't get to do what we want, even if we're getting choked. Even if I'm not saying he was choked. I just saw kind of their player on top of him. On top of our guy, and guy made a dominant block, and good for him. Then all that mess started happening, and the shame of it is I can't go out there and stop it, So I would have loved to have been able to run out there and tell our players to all get back, because they would have listened to me. And just like when the thing happened with Chris Miller on the sideline, I went out there and said, well, let me, and they said you can't step on the field, because of I guess what happened a couple weeks ago in the Texas-Oklahoma State game. I have to stand there, so our players were kind of all over there, and I can't go address our players. Couldn't address our players saying, hey, because after that I was able to say, if anything happens, guys, you're not playing next week. So I don't know what happened, and I don't know with Charlie. I haven't seen many guys ejected for complaining about a spot, and he might use a cuss word. I think probably unfortunately on a football field there's usually a lot of cussing. So I would think, but I don't know. So I'd have to wait to see what they tell me, and Greg's probably a little different if he threw a punch. Charlie, I don't know that I understand. What will happen moving forward.
Just as far as Brock Purdy, what was it like trying? This has a great arm. What was it? How about trying to contain him?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing with Brock today was just the difficulty in getting him tackled and on the ground. We had multiple chances in the first half to sack him. We knew he was a pump fake guy, and he does it really, really well. And we still fell for it a couple times. In the second half, things changed. The second half, we held them to 11 points. And really, it was just one drive. We scored. We're excited. We kicked the ball off. They run it back. It was a terrible kick. No, not terrible, but not a great kick, not great kickoff coverage. Guy loses a lane. They get out to the 50, 2 plays, touchdown, But I just think he's a really, really good quarterback and a really, really good player. And he's going to be, tough to deal with for a long time. But I thought the big thing in the first half was actually his mobility. And I thought in the second half we got a little more aggressive in our coverage. And again, we put DT kind of on Hakeem and let him play bump and run. And I think held him without a catch or not very many catches. So we were able to negate the explosives. It was just more that.
Coach, what about Pooh Strickland? Haven't really seen this production from him so far this year, but we're going to be able to step in and do what he did tonight.
Yeah, Pooh stepped in at the end of the Texas game and made some big plays for us. Pooh, you can see him developing. He was hurt last week, just sort of something that's been bothering him from before, kind of caught up with him. And so we sat him last week, and then he came out today and made some big plays. And so I thought, as I look at it, a lot of different guys, Chris Platt made some huge plays at the end. But Pooh was really, really vital for us. And at the end of the day, we certainly will go back and look at all the times where we got behind them and had a chance to maybe go score and make it a closer game and just weren't really able to connect on enough of those plays.
I think you talked about it, but holding Hakeem Butler, he comes in as the nation's leading receiver yards per catch. I think y'all held him 3 for 25. How were y'all able to do that?
Well, he's a great receiver, and we just knew we were going to have to tackle him when we did get to him. We just mixed our coverages up and tried to do some different things. But I thought our secondary guys played well, and a couple of times, we were able to get a little bit of maybe not even sacks on the quarterback, but make him move and scramble. So, he had to take off and wasn't able to kind of hit him in rhythm. But I thought Harrison Hand, it was great to have Harrison back out there. He played him for a large part of the game, and as did Derek Thomas, and both those guys I thought played well.